Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So we've been decoding spin doctors to princes, and we've got our extractions, and we've already got this to go forwards and backwards in the stock market, finance. We've got it to go forward, the letters to go forwards and backwards in genetics, and now we're on chemicals, and we're gonna run a new uh, beyond technology. We got a new category, and I just thought of it today, even if it never went forwards and backwards. Um, just and I'll get into that right after this decode. So you had says changed to said, ones changed to one, and loves changed to loved. And this paper's seen better days. Um, you cross off SA and SA, and you end up with YS and ID. So you bring YS ID down. Ones to one, you cross off one because they're alike. It leaves you an S. You bring the S down. Loves to loved leaves you, after you cross off LOVE, leaves you SD. And we brought SD down. And now we're on chemicals. And right off the bat, YSI is my new suspect for the potential quantum computer user, quite frankly, guys. I didn't think it was going to be. It's a oh, they're a company that deals a lot with water, but that's not all. If you go here and you look at their applications, they have aquaculture, cell culture, groundwater, medical research, storm water, biofuels and renewable energy, food and beverage, hydraulic fracturing, ocean and coastal, surface water, bioprocessing and online monitoring and control, general and environmental lab, life sciences, water or source, raw and drinking water, and wastewater. And that's just under their applications. All right. And I went and read a little bit of history on these guys, you guys. They were founded in Ohio in 1948, it says. And there's a little history on that. And what caught me is in 1952, first quartz crystal electronic stopwatch, guys. And then first practical medical electronical thermometer. 1955, first interchangeable thermistor temperature probes. First commercial heart-lung machine in 1956, and this goes on. First blood gas analyzer. First instantaneous blood gas analyzer. and it goes on all the way through the 50s, all the way through the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, and it just goes on into the 2000s. And these guys are into medical. These guys are into firsts, apparently. So I'm going to provide the link. I will provide you the link that I'm at right now of their history. But you can look at the applications, guys. These guys are a prime candidate for somebody who might have access to a quantum computer in this or another reality that could have made a calculation. Now, am I ready to call that yet? No, they're just someone I'm looking at, like I did Identilect, and Not so much looking at them anymore as them. Maybe somebody that's owns them privately, or an owner. But this YSI water systems, guys, they're more than just water systems. I wrote water systems, but as I just read, they're a lot more than that. And so I'll let that one go. And then I decided to check SIDS, SIDS. Remember, we knew SIDS was sudden infant death syndrome. And I guess I never did check that in the stock market. Maybe I should. But SIDS in chemicals ends up being screening information data set, screening information data set, SIDS. And I will provide a link to that, you guys. It's a data set, a whole bunch of chemicals and stuff here. And yeah, so that's SIDS in chemicals. So that was kind of interesting. Then you had YS, which ends up being YS Incorporated Chemical Services. We provide quality chemical services for the chemical-based metal and agriculture industries. So, yeah, there's another chemical hit. SD, and we're still going forward, guys, ends up being SD Chemicals. And SD Chemicals is one of the market leaders in supplying of hair dyes. And I sat here and was going, what would hair dyes have to do with anything? And my fiance says, oh, there's hella chemicals in hair dyes. Lots of chemicals. So those chemicals are probably used for other things than hair dyes, right? So, yeah, that's interesting because there are a lot of chemicals involved in that. So that actually gets you, or no, because I went and got DS, which ends up being darmstanditium on the periodic table of elements, and it is one of those fun, discovered in 1994. It's a highly radioactive, so it is used only in research, and it is a man-made element of which only a few atoms have ever been created, so they say. That is formatted by fusing nickel and lead atoms in a heavy iron accelerator, so it's one of those elements. So we've had those before, right? So it's kind of a pattern. Then that gets you actually through going forward. Then coming back, you take DSS, and you end up with disucinimidyl suburate. So it's a chemical of some sort. And I really don't. It's a thermoscientific Pierce DSS, also called what I just said, is non-cleavable and membrane permeable crosslinker that contains amini reactive anhydrosuccinimide NHS ester at each end of an 8-carbon spacer arm. Crosslinker is what you got going on there. Chemical labeling method. product size 50 milligrams. So yeah, you got some chemical stuff going on there. We're starting to run long. Sorry about that. Then you end up with DI, which ends up being DI Chemical Analytics. And I'll provide the links and let you read about that. Chemical Analytics, Chem Analytics. That pretty much speaks for itself. And then you're left with SY, which ends up being SY Chemical. And SY Chemical, and it lists a bunch of liquid sodium methylate that they make. Barbituric acid, D-L-naproxen, and this goes on. So a couple pages of it, of stuff that they make, of their products. So it definitely looks pharmaceutical to me, which is interesting because our new quantum computer suspect research is medical. And there were an awful lot of medical related stuff up here in the genetics, more specifically genetic disorders, SIDS, human growth up here in these genetics, and a lot of genetic mutations, and yeah, so go figure, guys. And that gets you through going forwards and backwards in chemicals. Now, I have a new category we're going to start hitting. And even though I'm looking at this at YSI as the potential quantum computer user here, I think we should start running these things for research institutes, because a lot of these things do end up being research institutes. Now, that's not always the case. You got Perry Stone Ministries, right? And but a lot of them, and Coleman Shemmy, and those usually come out in the wash somewhere else. But I think we're going to start running running these against research institutes. Almost a tongue twister there. I think we're going to start running these against those, running a category of those. And even if they don't go forwards and backwards, even if we only find one or two in the whole thing, they will give us something else to look at. And we can see what they're about, see what they research, run it against the rest of the search and see if a pattern's there, and, run it against the numbers. So I think we will do research institutes and see what we find in that category as well. And again, they may not go forwards and backwards in those, but I don't expect them to. I'm just expecting to pull a few out and a few other things to look at. So that's going to be it for now, guys. I think I covered everything. Did I cover everything? I think I covered everything. So for now, guys, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. Sorry for running it long. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your evening.